I was teasing my spouse at a community gathering until he stood up and declared our marriage was done for good. Hey, Reddit. I'm using a temporary account because this is mortifying, and I don't want my husband to know I'm sharing this since he follows my primary account. I'm in a terrible mess and genuinely clueless about what to do next. I'm Sarah, 24, and my husband Tom is 26. We've been wed for 3 years, having met in college. I never thought things would spiral like this. It all stemmed from miscommunications and my thoughtless behavior. Sorry if this is scattered. I'm still reeling and upset. Tom's always been reserved, while I'm the outgoing one. I thrive on hosting events and being around people, but Tom prefers cozy evenings with a novel or film. He's always backed my social tendencies, even though they're not his preference. But I crossed a line, and now I'm filled with regret. Some context. Tom's always been a bit too yielding. I hate saying that, but it's the truth. He's gone out of his way to keep me content, doing whatever it took to sustain our bond. I guess I misjudged him because of it, assuming he'd never walk away, that his love was too deep to ever confront me. Tom's the kind of man who'd wake up early to fetch my favorite latte, drop his plans to comfort me when I was low, and always put me first. He was caring, devoted, and eager to please. Over time, I started taking it for granted. I didn't see how much he was investing in us, or how my actions were wearing him down. I began to pull back. When I told Tom I wanted to be a homemaker without kids, he agreed without hesitation, even though it meant more pressure on him. But I slacked off, neglecting chores and expecting Tom to manage everything. He'd return from grueling workdays to a cluttered home and no meal, yet he never grumbled. He just rolled up his sleeves, cooked, cleaned, and handled it all. I started viewing him as spineless, resenting his constant compliance. I craved someone bolder, someone who'd push back, not just give in to me. I began spending more time with friends, enjoying myself while Tom stayed home. I ridiculed him behind his back, joking about him with my pals who egged me on. They said I deserved someone more dynamic, someone who matched my energy. The more I drifted, the harder Tom tried to hold on. He'd surprise me with presents, arrange romantic evenings, and talk about our dreams. But I was already detached. I didn't want someone who put me on a pedestal. I wanted thrill and fire. Our relationship became a loop, Tom striving to please me shoving him away. I started flirting with other men, relishing their attention. Tom saw it but stayed silent, doubling down to win me back, believing his devotion would fix it all. As I lost respect for Tom, so did our friends. It wasn't just my jabs, it was how I belittled him in public, sighing at his attempts to join discussions or ignoring him entirely. Our friends took my cue, treating Tom with less regard. They'd poke fun at him for being too devoted or overly accommodating, but Tom, always the peacemaker, would chuckle and brush it off, hiding his pain. I'd catch a glimpse of hurt in his eyes, but he'd mask it with a grin, saying he was just happy I was content. I didn't grasp how deeply it was wounding him, eroding his confidence. Tom's few close friends started pulling away, confused by why he tolerated me. They urged him to demand better, to stand up. But Tom always defended me, insisting I was just in a phase and that he loved me regardless. The more he stood by me, the weaker he seemed, and the less respect he got from me and our circle. It became a vicious cycle I couldn't escape. I gravitated toward people who fueled my behavior, telling me I could do better than Tom, that I needed someone on my wavelength. Meanwhile, Tom retreated further. He threw himself into work, taking on extra tasks and longer hours. He grew quieter, more withdrawn, and skipped social outings. When we did go out, he faded into the background, letting me shine. I was too wrapped up in my own world to see how much this was hurting him. Looking back, I was so unfair. Tom was a loving, loyal partner, and I took him for granted. My own insecurities and need for approval drove us apart, pushing away the one person who loved me without conditions. There are countless times I disrespected Tom, and since I need to get this off my chest, I'll share a few. Sorry if this drags on. It began months before the neighborhood event, around when I started distancing myself. I'd reconnected with old college buddies who'd moved nearby. They were lively, carefree, and seemed to live the life I thought I wanted. One Friday, my friend Emma invited me for a girls' night. It was meant to be just dinner, but it turned into bar hopping and dancing. Tom, ever supportive, urged me to go enjoy myself. He even gave me extra cash for the night, which I took without a thought. That night, I openly mocked Tom to my friends. Emboldened by drinks, I bragged about how he did everything for me, how he let me stay home without kids, and how he never complained. Emma and the others laughed, spurring me on, and I soaked up the attention. The next morning, I woke up hungover and guilty. Tom, as always, made me breakfast. He asked about my night, but I brushed him off with a vague reply, dodging details. I saw worry in his eyes, but he didn't press. Instead, he said he was glad I had fun and that he loved me. My guilt morphed into annoyance, and I dismissed him. Over the next few weeks, I went out more with friends. Tom, visibly exhausted, kept supporting me. Our talks grew short, and tension built. I sensed his frustration but ignored it, convincing myself he'd never leave. One night, Emma and some friends came over for a movie night. Tom made dinner for us, then retreated to our room to give us space. After some wine, the talk turned to relationships. Emma mentioned her partner, wishing he were as devoted as Tom. This sparked jokes about how Tom was too perfect for me, how I had him under my thumb, and how he was such a doormat. Tipsy, I joined in, mocking Tom's habits, his quirks, and how he'd do anything I asked. I even joked that I could tell him to leap off a bridge and he'd ask how far. My friend's laughter made me feel bold, though I knew it was wrong. Tom must have overheard, but he never mentioned it. The next morning, he acted normal, though his eyes betrayed his pain. He kissed my cheek, said he loved me, and left for work. I felt guilty, but buried it. The tipping point came a week before the community gathering. We were invited to a neighbor's barbecue. It was a sunny day, and everyone was cheerful. Tom, as usual, was the ideal husband, helping with the grill, ensuring everyone was fed, and being his kind self. The conversation turned to relationships, and we discussed how much our partners did for us. I bragged about how Tom catered to me, how he met my every demand, and how he was the perfect spouse. My friends laughed, joking about how controlled Tom was and how I had him tamed. Tom was nearby, overhearing it all. Instead of pride, I felt shame, but my need to impress my friends overpowered it. I laughed along, piling on more jabs at Tom's expense. That night, Tom was silent when we got home. He went straight to bed, leaving me alone. I sat in the living room, feeling angry and regretful. I knew I'd gone too far, but I didn't know how to fix it. I told myself it would pass, that Tom would forgive me as always. I didn't realize that barbecue was his breaking point. The community gathering was the final blow. It was a typical neighborhood event, a chance to unwind and connect. That night, I made a grave error. The party was hosted by neighbors and everyone was having fun. Tom was at the grill and I was with my friends. After a few drinks, the talk turned to our spouses, and Tom became the focus. My friends knew how much he doted on me and found it funny. Someone said I was lucky to have a husband who'd do anything for me. Buzzed, I laughed and joked about how Tom never refused me, how he always complied, and how he sometimes seemed spineless. The teasing escalated with my friends joking about how whipped Tom was. Then I noticed the quiet. I turned and saw Tom standing there, pale and stone-faced. He'd heard it all. He approached our table, looked straight at me, and said we needed to talk. Surprised, I followed him. The party went on, but I felt everyone's eyes on us. That's when Tom said he was finished. I thought he was joking, but his face was serious. He said he was tired of being disrespected by me and others. He told me he was leaving, and that I couldn't return home. My belongings would be outside, he said, and he walked away. I stood there, stunned, feeling the weight of everyone's stares, their faces full of pity. They might not have heard our words, but our expressions and Tom's exit made it clear something was wrong. I rushed after him, but by the time I reached home, Tom was packing my things. I begged him to stop, sobbing and trying everything to sway him, but he was like a wall. He wouldn't look at me or listen. He kept packing, resolute, and soon finished. He placed my things outside and told me to go. I refused at first, pleading, but he threatened to call the police. Knowing he meant it, I had no choice. As I left, I felt the neighbors' eyes on me, even my so-called friends. None offered help or comfort. They just watched. I walked down the street carrying what I could, tears falling. My mind raced, grappling with what had happened. I'd underestimated Tom, never imagining he'd stand up like this. I ended up at a nearby park, dazed, and called my dad to pick me up. He came quickly, disappointed but supportive, and took me to my parents' house. I've been at my parents' for days, lost. I've tried calling Tom, but he won't answer. He ignores my texts, and I'm at a loss. This place is harsher than I expected. I should have known better. I know I screwed up. I don't need constant reminders. I came for advice, not insults. Can you stop? The negativity is crushing, and I regret posting. I wanted help, not judgment. To clarify, no, I don't have a job, as I mentioned earlier, so I don't get why people keep asking. No, my marriage isn't over. I hope we can reconcile. And no, this isn't fake. I have better things to do than invent stories for Reddit. Yes, I know I need work and to rebuild, but it's hard to focus when all I think about is Tom. I miss him terribly, and it hurts knowing I drove him away. I'd undo it all if I could. To those offering real advice, thank you. Your words are a lifeline. To the critics, I'm already facing the fallout. I don't need more hate. I'm trying to take it day by day, hoping to make amends and prove to Tom I can change. It's tough, but I'm committed. If anyone has practical advice, please share. Update. I don't know why I keep posting here. Reddit's so toxic, but I have nowhere else to vent. First, I'm so thankful for my parents. Without them, I'd be on the streets. They've been my anchor, and I'd be lost without them. Second, I've realized my friends, including Emma, are fake. None have contacted me since this happened. Not a call or text. They're awful, and I've blocked them all. They never cared about me. Tom and I finally spoke, and he's firm on divorce. I think he'll regret it and miss me, but I'll give him what he wants. When he tries to return, I won't take him back. That's where I stand. I'm job hunting, but nothing's panned out. It's disheartening, but I'm trying to stay optimistic. I can't believe how fast my life unraveled. 1 minute, I had it all. Friends, a husband. The next, I was alone, everything in shambles. It's overwhelming, and I'm struggling to accept it. Despite it all, I'm determined to move on. I know I erred, and I'm ready to grow, but it's hard not to feel resentful. I gave so much to my friends and Tom, and now I have nothing. To the supportive ones, thank you. Your kindness means everything. To the harsh ones, I hope you never face this. It's easy to judge from afar, but not when your world collapses. I'm focusing on work, saving, and eventually moving out. It's a long journey, but I'll get there. I don't need pity or judgment, just strength to keep going. Another update. I know I said that was my last post, but I need to share one more time. After months of toxic feedback, I stopped visiting Reddit. Here's the final scoop. The divorce is done. I'm still with my parents and got a job I despise. It's low paying, and my dad pulled strings to get it, but I'm stuck for now. The divorce was simple. The house was Tom's before we married, and as a homemaker, I got some alimony, but it's minimal. No kids, so no custody issues. I tried talking to Tom, but he's truly done. It hurts to see him happier without me. I'll never forgive myself. I'm done with Reddit. It's too toxic. I owed you this update. To the haters, get a life. Thanks and farewell. Final update. I swore that was my last post, but something wild came up. I learned my single friends, the ones who mocked Tom with me, are now chasing him. I found out from a neighbor I ran into recently. Back when I was with Tom, I barely spoke to her because Emma disliked her, but she spilled the tea. Apparently, Tom's not interested in them, which is good. They're terrible. It's ironic how things flipped. The same people who helped ruin my marriage are now vying for him. It's a tough lesson. That neighbor was kind, not judging my past, and offered help if I needed it, which was comforting. It's nice to know good people exist. I'm still at that awful job, but saving to move out soon. It's hard, but I'm determined. Tom and I don't talk, and I've tried reaching out, but he's done. Seeing him thrive without me reminds me of my mistakes. I started therapy, which is helping me unpack why I acted that way. It's a long process, but I'm dedicated to change. This is truly my last post. I'm staying positive, focusing on tomorrow, and taking it one step at a time. To those with helpful advice, thank you. Your support is invaluable. To the haters, move on. We all mess up, and I'm trying to learn. Life's too short for so much negativity. Take care.